मिलादे मुस्तफा अल्लाह अल्लाह मिलादे मुस्तफा अल्लाह अल्लाह उम्मत दा जेड़ा गमगारे सारे नबियां दा सरदार.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Welcome to Radio Apnea Waz. This is your Sunday afternoon show with your brother Abu Mussa going live from the studios of Apnea Waz in Bradford. By the way, did you know that the radio station here is broadcasted in Birmingham, in Lancashire, and Leeds also? So please get us on the DAB radio, or you can go online, inshallah. So this is the Sunday Live with your brother Abu Musa. And today, as always, we have an interesting selection of conversations that will be taking place today, from sports to politics to trending issues that are going on around and about. And of course, we are approaching the month of Ramadan, which is literally hours or days away from. And are you prepared? Are you ready for the month of Ramadan? Inshallah. You know, we are blessed to be in this position again, to have the opportunity to to be able to embrace the month and to gain the reward of the month. And I will be discussing this in further detail further down the show. But as always, just to kick off things, I'm just going to give a general overview of things, what's been going on, what I've kind of picked up this week and what I've realized this week. So one of the first little kind of not a rant, but a little kind of thing that I wanted to talk about, just kind of raising my conversation, was something that I saw one of the brothers post recently, and I thought it's a really good point that he's made here, and it is related to social media and the dangers of social media. As you know, social media is a massive platform used by many people of many walks and many inclinations, be that for good, be that for bad, whatever it be. You have everyone and anyone utilizing the platform of social media, be that through Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, whatever, YouTube, whatever your fancy is out there, people are utilizing. Now, the issue that I have and the concern that I have as a Muslim social media personality, not that I have a great following or anything like that, but there are many Muslim Muslim personalities out there that have a huge following. And one of the biggest things that I have noticed is the question of sincerity in the type of content that's being created. And I get it that we are living in a very fast-paced environment where content is critical and you want the attention of your subscribers or your audiences. And sometimes it requires a bit of creativity, it requires something different. But at what point do you sacrifice the quality of your content for your audience? So what I said there is, at what point do you sacrifice the quality and sincerity and the purity of your content just to appease your public or your audience? Because we know from what we see on social media, and I have witnessed a lot of social media personalities that have started to evolve and change or adopt a different strategy in the way they put their content out there. And it's interesting. I mean, sometimes I find it quite, what's the word I'm looking for? A bit kind of unsettling when I see certain personalities that have in the past presented a certain type of face, and all of a sudden they're engaging in certain things that I find a bit unusual. It's like, I don't know, I think when they start to promote themselves as, I don't know, you see a lot of brothers going into boxing matches or going into, and I don't have any issue with people going into physical activities like boxing. I think it's a good sport, it's a healthy sport. But when you're doing it to raise your profile or to get more clicks or to get more likes, I just think sometimes if you're a dawah carrier and your intention or your objective is to sort of like, spread the word of Allah. And I get it, look, there's styles out there and we should all play on the strengths that we have. And I don't see anything wrong with producing content that might be, of a training video where somebody's going out there doing some stuff, but it also has a message attached to that video. And I get that. It needs to be done in a very, very sincere manner. And the problem is with social media today is that a lot of it can sometimes inflate your ego, can make you feel, I don't know, whatever it is you're looking for. Maybe you're looking for the likes, maybe you're looking for the subscribers to increase. So you think that I now need to do X, Y, and Z to increase my subscribers. and that means maybe sometimes watering down my message. Maybe it means adding on things to my message that weren't initially in my initial kind of onset of what I want to do and what I want to achieve. So my idea of giving dawah was to keep the dawah pure, keep it kind of keep it away from being watered down by anything, by any means other than just to sort of like please Allah. And when we start to please other than Allah, then we are walking on uncharted territory, uncharted water more than anything. And it's a concerning thing that I see a lot of dawah carriers that are starting to make the dawah a bit more of a mockery, make it a bit more of a farcical kind of like, uh, thing. And again, I'm not here to judge. I'm not here to sort of like pass judgment of other individuals because Allah knows their intentions. But all I'm saying is, as a observer, that I see personalities change over time because of maybe they're suddenly being monetized. Suddenly they're finding out that hey, I've got stream of revenue here. I've got money coming in, so the money's coming in as a result of the stuff that I'm doing here. I'm getting more adverts. I'm getting people sponsoring me. So really now you have to ask yourself is what is the purpose of your dawah? What is the purpose of your social media activity? And I get it. It's one of those things that, when you get caught up in the world of social media, it can affect us all. We're all human at the end of the day. We all like the attention. We all like the likes and the subscriber numbers going up. We all want that. When I post a video out there, I'm always looking at the number of views that I get because sometimes it is an indicator of how successful a video was and how successful that content was. So it's feedback for me that did I do well there? Did I not? Could I have done something better? But at what cost are you prepared to sacrifice your content just to gain subscribers and to increase maybe the monetization of the content that you put out there? And that's the question, brothers and sisters, that you have to ask yourself. And it's between you and Allah a lot of the times. I'm here merely kind of prompting the discussion and the discourse over this issue because I think to me, it does kind of make your content a bit superficial because when you come out there from the very onset and your message is quite serious and you have some very kind of informative content, and then suddenly it becomes a bit comical and a bit kind of a bit of a joke along the way, then you need to really question the kind of intentions that you have. Have your intentions changed along the way? Because I've seen a lot of social media influencers that have changed their position and their stance over time because of the impact of social media. And social media, like anything else out there, is a relationship. It's a relationship between you and something else. And that relationship needs to be managed and regulated. And when that relationship starts to impact us as a Muslim, then we need to take accountability, and we need to take kind of stock of what's going on here. And I think it's very important that you have a good management team around you, good brothers around you or sisters if you're a social media influencer as a female, that can remind you and put you back in your position where you need to be, and not kind of flirt with you with the way that they kind of make you feel very happy with the stuff that you're producing that is far from what you initially set out to do. And I know I'm going off on a tangent on this, brothers and sisters, but I think there's a lot of dangers of social media, and may Allah protect us all from this kind of this kind of danger out there because we're all susceptible to it, and I am just as much as you are. So this is more a reminder for myself than anybody else because I have seen the ills of social media, and we've all fallen foul to some of the traps that social media sets us out there because you get entangled and caught up in the whole world, and you don't know who you're dealing with. You don't know if this personality is real or not real, and you're getting flattered by people out there that are saying things to you, and then you're being concerned about the comments or the derogative comments that you're getting. If you're doing things to please people, brothers and sisters, then you will never please them. If you're doing it to please Allah, then remain steadfast on that. Because when you're here to please Allah, you will not please everybody. Your message will more than often not be liked by some because they don't like the content and the nature of what you're trying to say to them. It's challenging the status quo. That is the biggest qualm people have, and they switch off because they don't like to hear the truth. They don't like their ego being challenged. And as I say, may Allah protect us in this process, because we are all susceptible to this, and we are all affected by this. And who knows that, maybe I'm sat here saying what I'm saying because I've never been offered the monetization to do X, Y, and Z, because somebody wants me to water down my message, or somebody wants me to, alter the content and add other things in there that are more palatable, and more acceptable by mainstream societies. And we need to remember that this dawah, the struggle that we are involved with, is a struggle. It's not something that's easy, and we are doing it with the landscape that is full of attractive and appeasing messages out there that may be more appealing than what we offer. And sometimes you say the things that need to be said because it's required from you, and sometimes that might not sit well with everybody. People might dislike you as a result of that. uh, Again, you need to ask yourself the very question, that why are you on this pursuit? Why are you on this journey of calling people to the truth? Is it for your own ego, or is it for your akhirah? And again, like I said, brothers and sisters, this is more to me and a reminder to me, as it is to you as well. So if you can take the good from that, then alhamdulillah. But if you can't, and you don't like to hear the truth, then that's an issue for you and your ego to really address more than anything. Uh, anyway, that was my two penneth on that issue there. How are we doing for time, young Muhammad? Muhammad's always on the camera with me. Jazakallah khair, Muhammad, on the camera. No, sorry, I want to know what the timing is on. Okay, so we're doing quite all right for time. I think we might just kind of take a short little break, but I wanted to also just touch on another subject matter, very briefly and quickly. I don't think I might have enough time. I might actually take a quick little short break and then pick up this conversation in the next part. Okay. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
उसी की मोहब्बत है ईमान कामिल, उसी से मिला हमको इरफान मंजिल। उसी की मोहब्बत है ईमान कामिल, उसी से मिला हमको इरफान मंजिल। उसी ने हमें जामाए हक में डाला, उसी से है इस्लाम का बोलबाला। वो नबियों में रहमत लक़ब पाने वाला, उसी से है इस्लाम का बोलबाला। या रहमतल लिल
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back to Radio Apnea Waz. This is your Sunday afternoon live with your host, Abu Musa. And just before the quick little break, I was talking about the ills and the downfalls of social media. And if you're a social media influencer out there and you are carrying the dawah, then be very careful, be very selective, and be very concerned about the jungle of social media that you're approaching, because there are many obstacles and many challenges that you may face. And if you are on the journey of giving dawah, then it's important that you have some accountability and some people that can bring you to account over the content that you're producing, and ensuring that the very onset of what you were trying to produce, that throughout your journey you remain steadfast and consistent on that, and you don't water things down, and you don't amend and change. Which brings me nicely onto my next subject matter, which was a report that I read this week, or last week it might have been, about an imam, a queer imam, if possible, if we even have such a thing, who was shot dead in South Africa, and just brought to my attention the whole idea, because I just briefly read this article of this individual, and he spoke about his homosexual inclinations that he had, and how he couldn't hide them anymore, and he had to come out public, and not only come out public with them, but also facilitate an environment for other people, or house people that have those similar sentiments. So he became a leader for those communities that were, that were of the homosexual nature, same gender kind of sex. And not just that, but he also kind of housed the LGBTQ community, and he was all forthcoming and welcoming of this. And I'm not here to discuss the kind of halal and haram of his killing, but rather the concern that we should have as Muslims, that when we try to design our deen according to the liberal secular values of society, then who are we trying to conform our religion for? Are we trying to design it according to what society is telling us and what the trends are in society? Because if trends are changing, then do we change our deen to sort of satisfy the public? Are we here to act upon our inclinations? So, okay, this individual might have an inclination towards other men, but does that mean it has to manifest in his kind of behavior? Because is it not the Sharia of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and Islam that kind of defines and shapes our behavior? Because we all have inclinations. Sometimes I might feel a certain way towards a certain issue, or I might be angry and I might want to lash out at somebody. But it's because of Islam, it's because of my belief in Allah that I control my anger and I don't allow it to kind of go out of control. And we also know promiscuity is a huge thing, that men and women, they are having relationships outside of Islam, outside of marriage, sorry. But based on that, should we now start jumping from bed to bed with one woman and another woman? Of course, many men would love to do that because it would be an ideal scenario for many of them. But it is the hukum and the sharia of Allah that confines us and controls us, that kind of keeps us at bay from doing such an act. But rather, Allah maybe has allowed us to marry more than one wife. But my point is, brothers and sisters, that we all have inclinations, we all have predispositions. But is it that we act on these predispositions, or do we now look at Islam and see what Islam has to say? So, tomorrow we don't have a situation where somebody turns around and says, you know what, I can make a killing from selling alcohol. So you know what, I'm going to open a pub. But I'm a Muslim. I pray 5 times a day. But you know what? I know that if I open a pub here, I can make a lot of money. I can sell halal, sell alcohol. But we know that the many hadiths and the ayahs in Quran that condemn anybody who sells alcohol, who transports alcohol. There's a whole line of people that are involved in the whole process of dealing and wheeling with alcohol. So we can't take society as our measure, as our yardstick. We can't take society as our Sharia. Rather, we look back to the text and we look back to the Quran and the Sunnah and see, what did Allah say on this matter? What did the Prophet ﷺ say on this matter? So we've got to be very careful that we don't have tendencies or inclinations towards such an idea. And then you get sympathetic Muslims out there that will say, oh, brothers and sisters, why are you being harsh to this individual? Look, he's still a Muslim. Yes, of course he's still a Muslim. He's doing something haram, and we recognize that he's doing something haram. But what we say and we do is we advise that Muslim. What does the Prophet ﷺ say? He says that do not hate the sinner, but hate the sin. So remember that, brothers and sisters. Do not hate the sinner, because the sinner can change. Because today maybe I am doing good, but tomorrow maybe I might become the sinner. So Allah is the one who's the most merciful, and we should always remember that we should advise a sinner. Because I remember years and years ago, when I was first in the dawah, and when you're first in the dawah, you're very zealous and very passionate about the dawah. And those people that are around you, you're very quick to judge them and quick to pass judgment over them. I remember coming across one of my brothers that I used to engage with quite a lot. And then I found out that he was in an illicit relationship with a woman and he had a child out of her. So my first reaction was, look, I was disgusted when I heard this, and I thought, my God, astaghfirullah, how can you do this? How can you, knowing Islam, knowing the truth, have a child out of wedlock? And that put the brother on the back foot straight away. He kind of distanced himself from wanting to engage with me, because here I am kind of being holier than thou, stamping my stamp of authority on him to say that, I am a better Muslim than you and you are lesser Muslim than me. No, we should not have this attitude. This is wrong, because we don't know that, we make mistakes. And Allah is the one who's Ghafur Rahim. And we don't know that this brother could have. I'm not trying to justify or kind of, try to cover up his sins. But the thing is, we need to advise these people, because we all get lost. We all sometimes make mistakes. And because of that, are we going to get condemned by our very community that we may need advice from, we may need guidance from, we may need support from. So this is my point, brothers and sisters, that all of us sitting here, all of us listening to the show will know of individuals that are doing or living a haram lifestyle. And the question becomes is, what role are you playing in their life? What role are you playing in their life to influence them to go the right way? Are you projecting an image of Islam that is putting them off from Islam? Are you projecting an image that maybe inviting them to Islam, that making them think that, Allah gives you a second chance, that Allah is the one who forgives more than the mother can forgive? So why banish somebody? Why condemn somebody to hell when there is still a chance? While they're living and breathing and they're still on this earth, they still have a chance. So even though, we come across stories like this, we invite them to the call of Allah. We ask them we give them the right guidance. But at the same time, we cannot mix Islam with secular liberal values. We need to be very careful of that. When we try to make Islam palatable, we can't make Islam palatable. Islam is set. The Sharia is very clear and outlined. The parameters of Islam are defined very clearly, black and white. We know where the gray areas are. We avoid them. And we try to protect our families and raise them in the right environments. So, yeah, that was my kind of two penneth on that issue there. And swiftly moving on from that, I'm going to address, or shall I? Yeah. I think I'll move on to the issue of, yes, the boxing. Of course, the boxing. Last night, what happened? The big Riyadh season of boxing. We had Artur Beterbiev and Dmitry Bivol fighting. And my little piece on this is not to highlight the brilliant and fantastic boxing match that took place over 12 rounds and who was victorious and did he deserve to win, did he not deserve to win. I've decided to take a very different angle on this whole subject. Don't get me wrong, I'm a massive fan of boxing. I love some of the personalities out there that are boxers. But my position on this, or my conversation around this, is that is sport a very organized distraction? Is sport funded by the very governments around us to distract us from those vital issues that we as Muslims should be concerned about? Has sport become the new religion for people who don't have religion, for those people who don't believe in Allah, who don't believe in God? They don't have anything spiritual in their lives. So for some people, waking up, preparing themselves for the football match, or getting themselves to the gym, or preparing for the big fight, it's like a commitment. It's like a religion. It's a devotion. It's a commitment. We will go to the mosque and we'll pray, but they will go to the gym or the football ground or the arena. That arena has become their house of God. It has become a place that has a lot of worship for them, has a lot of significance in their lives. And when I think about this, and I think about this, the Saudi government and Turkey Al Sheikh, who's leading this whole investment. They call it the PIF, the Public Investment Fund, which is kind of trying to unite all of the boxing federations together. And from the Western perspective, they're loving this. The West, America, they're loving the fact that this character from Saudi is able to bring together some of these super fights and the amount of money that he's throwing in there. And then I think to myself that, the Ummah is bleeding. And, as a Muslim, we have to remember what the Prophet ﷺ said. He said in his hadith that the one who does not think about the affairs of the Ummah is not from me. That the one who does not think about the affairs of the Ummah is not from me. And you might think, oh, brother Abu Musa, what are you talking about here? Why are you turning this whole issue into something else? Look, brothers and sisters, we've got to look at the reality of statistics here. We've got to look at the reality of the facts here. We can see that more and more people in society are becoming depoliticized. They are not interested in politics. They're not interested in the affairs of the world, what is going on. They don't care that blood is being shed and lives are being destroyed. As long as they can make sure they can watch their game of football, or they can get to watch their next fight, or whatever big sporting event that's taking place, the World Cup or whatever it be, and how it's manufactured by the local media outlets, how it's propagated in our minds. Don't get me wrong here, brothers and sisters. I am one of those victims of what is being sold out there. because the sport becomes so embedded in your mind and in your emotions that we are affected by it. Just like we love Allah and His and the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, people will love the footballers to the degree that these footballers are like gods and prophets. They're like worshipped. If their favorite player makes the score, these people celebrate. They get drunk. They get high on this spiritual enlightenment that they have. It's amazing, subhanAllah, when you watch the way these dedicated people follow the sport. I'm going to take a short little break there and come back to you, inshallah, continue this conversation. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
جس قلب میں دنیا بستی ہے بس حرص و ہوس کی ہستی ہے جس قلب میں دنیا بستی ہے بس حرص و ہوس کی ہستی ہے انجام تباہی پاتے ہیں پھر چین و سکون کو کھوتے ہیں چین و سکون کو کھوتے ہیں عشاق کی نیندیں غائب ہیں اولاد کو ٹھٹھلاتے ہیں کچھ لاکھ کو ضائع کرتے ہیں کچھ سجدے میں ہی ہوتے ہیں دنیا کی یہ چاہت فانی ہے گویا کہ عمر گوانی ہے دنیا کی یہ چاہت فانی ہے گویا کہ عمر گوانی ہے ذی عقل گناہ سے بچتے ہیں کردار میں اعلیٰ ہوتے ہیں کردار میں اعلیٰ ہوتے ہیں عشاق کی نیندیں غائب ہیں اولاد کو ٹھٹھلاتے ہیں کچھ رات کو ضائع کرتے ہیں کچھ سجدے میں ہی ہوتے ہیں گر سچی محبت رب سے کرے دنیا بھی ملے عقبا بھی ملے گر سچی محبت رب سے کرے دنیا بھی ملے عقبا بھی ملے ایمان کی موت پہ مرتے ہیں آرام سے قبر میں سوتے ہیں آرام سے قبر میں سوتے ہیں عشاق کی نیندیں غائب ہیں اولاد کو ٹھٹھلاتے ہیں کچھ لاکھ کو ضائع کرتے ہیں کچھ سجدے میں ہی ہوتے ہیں عشاق کی نیندیں غائب ہیں اولاد کو ٹھٹھلاتے ہیں کچھ لاکھ کو ضائع کرتے ہیں.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Welcome back to Radio Apnea Waz. This radio station is broadcasting to you from the studios in Bradford, but it's also going out in Leeds, in Birmingham, and also in Lancashire as well. So the message is getting wider and wider. And alhamdulillah to the brothers who are running and managing the team here. Always doing a fantastic job, always looking to improve and invest more into the community. And how can you help? You may be asking yourselves. Of course, if you're a business or if you have, spare funds available, please do get in touch with the studio here and contact Brother Shabir and, find out how you can support the station and this noble cause. It will obviously allow us to continue producing content and putting out radio shows like this and many others on the program list here. Anyway, continuing with my conversation, I was talking about the boxing match last night. Yeah, which unfortunately I'm not going to give you my analysis of because that wasn't the purpose. But, it's interesting because I'm an avid follower of sports myself, and I'm kind of like dropping myself in this conversation here because I'm trying to talk against sport, but I'm giving you the reality of the impact of sport and what it does to us as a society and a community. I see on social media, and maybe brothers might say it's a bit of banter, but they will go to war with each other over their favorite football teams, and they will make digs and say ridicule each other over a game of football. And sometimes you might think it's banter, but it does become quite offensive at times. And you have to think to yourself, why Why the big investment of emotions in such a thing? I mean, ultimately, who are the benefactors of our passions and our zeal and our investment in sport? It's the capitalist nations that are, propagating and entertain who are, who have their entertainment industries. Uh, they're pacifying the society, kind of almost like it's like putting this whole charade on for you, and whilst they can just completely mess the politics up in the country. I mean, look at the state of Britain today. I mean, it's one of the worst nations in the whole of the developed world in terms of its economy, in terms of its standards of living, in terms of cost of living. Uh, you know, and what do people do? People worship the altar of football. They'll go to every Sunday or Saturday. They'll go to the football matches. They'll watch their football. And they'll drink their beer, and they'll forget about all their problems and their worries. And that is the greatest trick that any society or nation has played. It's completely dumbed down the people, completely control the narrative here. Now, look, don't get involved in politics. Become depoliticized. All you need to do is focus on what next sporting event is taking place. If it's not the World Cup, it's the European Cup. And it's not the European Cup, it's Wimbledon. And if it's not Wimbledon, you've got cricket. And there's constant distractions, brothers and sisters. And we are also falling part of this. And I can talk to Muslims, and they're so passionate about their cricket. They're so caught up into the whole nationalistic vibe, which is another angle on things. What does sport also do? It promotes nationalism. Is nationalism halal? No, it isn't. We know that nationalism creates division. So again, under the umbrella of sport, what have you got? You've got more division. And for those brothers and sisters that feel, I'm British, I'm English, I support England. Yeah, you might support England, but the far right will still see you as a packer, or they'll still call you, by your colour. And we know, and we saw in one of the European Cup finals, we saw that one of the black players were unable to score the goals and got kicked out of the finals of the European Cup. You saw how the racist chants were increased by the people. So the reality is, brothers and sisters, as much as you try to integrate into sport and integrate into supporting the relevant teams, there's such a divisive kind of agenda within sport itself. Don't get me wrong here. I'm not against people participating in sport. I think sport has a lot of advantages, benefits to you as a human being in terms of your health. I'm talking about the bigger agenda. I'm talking about the way a nation state controls its people. We are like sheep to them, and we are being dictated to and controlled in the manner of what we see, what our attention is focused on. I mean, I know as a spectator the amount of emotional commitment I give when I watch my favorite fighter. With the times when brother Habib would fight in the UFC, it would be a whirlwind of emotions that you'd feel, or when Islam Makhachev would fight. We know the experience, and that's what they've managed to do. The way they've manufactured and marketed the sporting industry, they have invested so much money to control our behavior and to control our focus. Our focus has now shifted from the issues of the ummah to who is going to fight who, and then we get multiple people who analyze this sport and give their criticism, which again is an interesting kind of thing in itself, because again, I put my hand up here and say that I am guilty of it. That when I watch something, I generally do like to find out what the professionals or what the professional kind of analysts view it, how they see it. And you find social media is plagued with thousands and millions of opinions of what they thought of last night's fight, who should have won, what was the outcome, was it right, was it wrong, the politics of sport, etc., etc. There's a whole kind of world of confusion and distraction. And you only have to look back at the times of the Romans and the Colosseums and the gladiatorial kind of matches that took place. The Romans, they went on about ruling and conquering the world whilst the people were starving and hungry, but they'd put on a bit of entertainment for them, and lo and behold, people will be sort of pacified. And that's the nature of the governments. They want to control and manipulate your thought process and your attention span. So they don't want you to be interested in politics. They don't want you to be concerned about what's going on politically, but rather politically deactivating your mind and getting you focused on something else. So that is the position that they have. And I think I will end on that point there, end on that conversation and move on to another discussion. How are we doing for time, Mohammed? Okay, I'm going to carry on. I'm going to move over to my next subject, which, of course, is Ramadan and the month of Ramadan. Uh, again, brothers and sisters, we are blessed. We are blessed. Why? That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us life and the ability to walk into another month, holy month, the blessed month of Ramadan. And for those of you that are here today, listen to the show, alhamdulillah, is an opportunity. It's an opportunity of a lifetime for us to change something that needs to be changed, and for us to gain the benefit of this month of Ramadan. And I want to give you a bit of an analogy here. I want to give you an analogy of, I often see I often see on social media a lot of brothers that are into their fitness and training. They always post videos, or sorry, pictures of their transformation. They'll show their body before training and the body after training. So you see this massive kind of shift of weight coming off, and these rippling muscles or whatever that they've achieved. So you get the before picture and you get the after picture. Who and where are you before Ramadan? Are you somebody out there who is committing sin, who is engaging in sin, who is caught on the wrong path, who is going down the wrong path, who has lost his deen? Because brother or sister that is listening to this radio station now, this is a month of transformation. This is a month that Allah is going to shackle up all the shayateen. All the devils will be locked up and the gates of paradise will be open. This, brothers and sisters, is an opportunity of a lifetime. And when you think about it, when you think about sales, you look at how people will run to sort of like the next sales. They'll wake up in the morning and queue up outside 3-4 o'clock in the morning to get inside next. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving you an opportunity of a lifetime. He's giving you the reward that you would receive. He's multiplying it hundreds by hundreds. He's increasing that. And what I also want to add here is just some reminders for us of what Allah says in the Quran and what the Prophet ﷺ says in the Hadith. The month of Ramadan, in which the Quran was revealed, is a guidance for the people and clear proofs of guidance for those people who have understanding. That we should remember that Allah, the Almighty, He revealed the Quran in this month. The Quran that changed and transformed the entire world, the entire globe. We saw Islam taking over and controlling. And we know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran also, "O you who believed, decreed upon us is fasting, as it was decreed upon those before you, that you may become righteous." And there's a beautiful experience of Ramadan that, when you're fasting, there's a heightened feeling. There's a heightened closeness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If I can give you the analogy of, and I go back to sport here because sport is something that I always kind of like, I always thrive on, and I kind of, and I have experience of. So I always look at the athlete who's trying to perform for an event. There's so much preparation in their sort of like prior to the big occasion. So like us, the preparation is pre-Ramadan, and then when we get into Ramadan is a time for us to perform. And even throughout Ramadan, we are performing in a very heightened state. That state that only the one who's fasting knows that he is closer to Allah, the closest that he's ever going to be. And Allah throws so many opportunities to us in that month. And I want to talk about some of the virtues of fasting. And when you think about fasting, don't just think about not eating and drinking. Because when we think about fasting as not eating and drinking, then we are truly doing a disservice to it. We are truly doing a disservice to what that month is about. That month is about you discovering a new you. That month is about, you walking into that month as one person, coming out as another person by the end of that month. So you know how you have this conveyor belt image that this product comes to you in its kind of bare essentials, then it comes out of the conveyor belt as a packaged product That's how you should look at yourself. You're walking in there, maybe full of sin, maybe full of mistakes, maybe things that you can improve, things that you can work on. And that month, those days, those weeks, they should be transforming you into something else. That when you leave that month, you are not the person that walked into that month. You are an enhanced person, an enhanced version of yourself. And I like to look at this whole perspective from that. What can I do to become superior version of myself? And when I think of superiority, I only say in the context that you have gained closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Not in the context that, I am more superior to you and I am more superior to you. No, but in the eyes of Allah, we have gained in the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Our taqwa has increased that month. And that should be the mindset. So you should really have a very open and honest conversation with yourself when you sat there. So maybe, brothers and sisters, you're not praying right now. Maybe you're not giving in charity. Maybe you're finding certain habits in your personality that need to be amended. I'm going to take a short, quick little break, and we're going to carry on this conversation, inshallah.
फरमाई इब्राहीम अलैहिस्सलाम पर और इब्राहीम अलैहिस्सलाम की आल पर, बेशक तू बड़ी तारीफ वाला।
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back to Radio Apnea Wars, and this is your Sunday afternoon show with your brother Abu Mussa. And we were on the topic of Ramadan, and I want to continue this discussion as I think is a very critical conversation to have. As you know, this time next week, inshallah, we will be fasting. We will be embracing the month of Ramadan. But my question to you, brothers and sisters, is that what are you going to do this month of Ramadan? What is it that you have to do to change your life? Maybe right now you're not in the best state. Maybe you're not happy with yourself. Maybe you're not satisfied with your deen and the practice of your deen. But this is a momentous opportunity for you to change. If you go into Ramadan with the right mindset that you want to make change, that you want to draw close to Allah, then Allah will open the gates of mercy for you. And He will allow you to transform whatever you want to transform. But what is required from you, brothers and sisters, and I always, again, will refer to this analogy, when brothers and sisters are trying to do a physical transformation, they are very conscious and meticulous of every ounce of information and content that they have to go through. So they will weigh the food they eat. They will count their calories. But why don't we have the same approach when it comes to Ramadan? Why don't we have the same approach when it comes to, getting close to Allah? Is that all of a sudden become a non-methodical process that we don't need to plan for, we don't need to prepare for, we don't need to set ourselves goals, we don't need to have daily, weekly goal sets for ourselves? Of course not. We should be doing that. We should be more meticulous on this matter more than anything that we have, because this is a matter that can change the course of our lives, can either draw us closer to Jannah or push us more towards Jahannam. And I say this because Allah has opened every opportunity for us in this month, that we should be trying to engage in prayer, in more prayer than normal. So if you are praying the 5 obligatory prayers, then you should look at enhancing that, praying the extra nawafil prayers, praying the extra sunnahs that you can pray. If you are reading the Quran, increase the reading of Quran. If you are, if you are having challenging conversations or relationships with your friends and family, then try to fix those relationships. Invite family members to your house for iftari. Call them over. It's a beautiful time to build relationships. Everybody is in the atmosphere of Ramadan. Everybody can feel the atmosphere of Ramadan, and everybody can share that moment of opening their fast. And that's a beautiful month, brothers and sisters, that we often we need to kind of exaggerate on. We need to make the effort for. If anything is deserving of our time and effort, then it's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, our creator. And I just want to narrate some hadiths for you, just to motivate you, that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he says fasting is a shield. Fasting is a shield. It will protect you from the hellfire and prevent you from sins. That when you are fasting, you are extra conscious of your behavior. You are extra conscious of what you do, who you speak to, how you speak. Everything is in line because you know you are not eating for the sake of Allah. So when you speak, speak of something good or don't speak at all. When you listen to something that's beneficial for you and avoid listening to something that is harmful for you. And when you see, look at something that is good for you and avoid looking at something that might affect your state. So, when I think about the term virtue, what comes to my mind when I looked up the dictionary, it said virtue is a behavior, it's a strong, high moral standard. And we as believers, we should have the highest of moral standards, that we are the ones that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us the message of the Quran through our beloved Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, through his Sahabas, has shown us and has outlined the way the believer should live. And just to give you some reward, so some motivation and incentive, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he says about the reward of fasting, every deed of the son of Adam is multiplied. A good deed receiving a 10-fold to 700-fold reward. Allah said that except for fasting as it is for me, and I will reward it. So we don't know what the reward of Allah is, but Allah is saying that you are doing this for me, and I will reward you for that. And one of the things that we need to remember is that we're all sinners. And if you have done things wrong in your life, don't become disheartened, don't become distraught, but rather you should see that this doorway of mercy is opened, and now Allah is giving you the opportunity. So embrace that change, embrace that opportunity. Throw yourself into that situation. Ask Allah for forgiveness. Spend the nights worshiping Allah, remembering Allah, because you don't have no guarantee that you will have this month again. And as I was saying, one of the virtues of this month is that we're about the abstinence, the restrained. We're trying to restrain ourselves. We're learning about self-control. And what I do notice and see is that those brothers and sisters that sometimes, fall into kind of like use of foul language or into foul and bad habits, you need to really take stock of your life and your habits and ask yourself on a daily basis that what habit can I change? What habit can I restrain from? What can I keep away from? What do I need to be conscious of? And it's a constant reminder, because we have 29, 30 days of fasting. Use those days wisely. Don't be, there's a hadith of the Prophet ﷺ that I'm just trying to find the hadith here. It says that when Jibreel alayhi salam came to the Prophet ﷺ, he said, may the wrath of Allah be on the one who witnessed Ramadan but failed to earn forgiveness of Allah. Let me say that to you, brothers again, sisters again. Jibreel alayhi salam said that may the wrath of Allah be on the one who witnessed Ramadan but failed to earn the forgiveness of Allah. Brothers and sisters, it's an open month. Everything is there, made easy for us to rectify ourselves. If we fail, then we are failures. Then we are really the losers. That's what this hadith is saying. That every opportunity has been given to us. Every step of the way of Ramadan, Allah has made it easy for us. And now that we are approaching, we are fasting in the month of March time, the fasts are shorter. We don't have the long fasts of the summer months. So it's critical that we establish the mindset that we are in this journey of Ramadan, which is 29 to 30 days. Don't kill yourself the first day that you can't sustain that habit throughout, but rather be smart and build yourself up each day. Build yourself up each day, so by the time the last 10 days come, you are at the peak of your activity. You are at the peak of your activity and you excel in them last days. And you push like you are in a workout and you're doing your last few sets and you're pushing those extra reps out, because you're going to see results. And that's the same attitude you need to have, the same mindset you need to have when you're approaching the month of Ramadan and you are in those fasts. And remember, when you're opening your fast, that Allah is closest to you than he'll ever be. And he says that whatever my believer asks for, he will give. Whatever my believer asks for, he will give. So remember, be patient throughout the month of Ramadan. Discipline yourself. If you're not used to being disciplined, now is the time to introduce discipline into your life. Gratitude. Be thankful to Allah. Be thankful for all of the amenities, all of the things that Allah has given you, from your children to your wife to your families to your wealth to your resources to your material things, everything that you have around you. Be thankful to Allah. Strengthen ties. If you have family around you, you have friends around you, you have relatives, you have neighbors. It's a month of giving. Reach out to people. If you have non-Muslim neighbors, go speak to them, go see them, invite them to your house, give them food, be warm towards them, increase your, increase 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 your tongue with good things. And if you have lost your relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then renew this relationship, revisit this relationship, bring it back to life again. Because this is a month, brothers and sisters, that we may never see again. And if this is the last time that you will experience this month, that's how you should look at it. That try to do the best that you can do. And don't allow anything to distract you from that focus. Muhammad, how are we doing for time? Okay, inshallah. I think on that note, I will probably close my show, as I feel I've approached my time, inshallah. So, brothers and sisters, the next time I'll be on air, inshallah, will be in the month of Ramadan, I hope. And if I've said anything good today, then that is from Allah. And if I've said anything wrong today, that is from me. I wish you all the best, inshallah ta'ala, that you have a healthy and prosperous month of Ramadan. From the radio, from Radio Apni Awaz, it's Assalamu alaikum from Rahmatullahi wa Barakatuhu. चादर लीरो लीर मुहम्मद कंडिया नाल जोड़ दी